Of fear, questions, and a lot of speculation from the public, we're finally getting pages and pages of concrete evidence in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. The affidavit in this case reveals a surviving roommate came face to face with a man in black, partially masked, but with bushy eyebrows moments after the stabbings. And that partial description and security video of a car like the Elantra that Bryan Kohberger drives allowed investigators to focus on him within a couple of weeks of the crime. The biggest break, though, in the case may have been a small metal clasp connected to the murder weapon, which had all-important DNA evidence on it. So thanks for joining us for Fox 13 News at 6. I'm David Rose.
And I'm Jamie Tompkins. Bryan Christopher appeared in his orange jumpsuit this morning to face a judge in a packed courtroom. His own family and the family of at least one of the alleged victims in attendance as well. Fox 13's Jennifer Dowling was there too. Jen, did Coburger acknowledge anyone in the court?
Only his defense attorney and the judge. He kept his eyes pretty much forward. He did not look back into the gallery to see who was there. There was a huge crowd, as you said. It was packed. Meantime, the judge did deny bail for Coburger after reading the charges against him.
The maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Bryan Christopher looked alert as he listened to the charges against him, including felony burglary and 4 counts of first-degree murder, with the victims' names and associated charges read one by one.
The defendant, Bryan C. Coburger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Gonsalves, a human being, by stabbing Kaylee Gonsalves, from which she died.
Some members of the victim's friends and family gasped and wept as the names and charges were read.
In violation of Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, 4004.
When Bryan first entered the courtroom, he greeted his defense attorney with a brief smile. The judge later finding him eligible for a public defender.
I have court-appointed counsel.
Coburger's attorney did ask the court to set a bond, adding that he had a big family that supported him. County prosecuting attorney Bill Thompson argued against the request.
The defendant was arrested 3,000 miles away across the country, where his family was asked that he remain in custody.
I am going to leave the bail set of this case as no bail at this point in time.
An attorney for the Kaylee Gonsalves family explained what it was like to see Coburger in court for the first time.
It's obviously an emotional time for the family, seeing the defendant for the first time. This is the beginning of the criminal justice system, and the family will be here for the long haul.
And the judge did also issue a no-contact order for the victims' families and for the surviving roommates. The next court date is scheduled here on January 12th. Reporting live in Moscow, Jennifer Dowling, Fox 13 News.
Jennifer, thank you so much. What didn't come out in court? A connection. Did police determine if the victims knew Coburger? Did they discover a possible motive? The answers to those questions remain redacted, part of that sweeping gag order from the judge. But earlier today, I spoke with a former local homicide detective turned crime profiler, and he has some theories about the crime and the man who allegedly committed it. Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, 4 friends returning together to a rented Moscow, Idaho home after enjoying a college night out. At 4 a.m. November 13th, they were unwinding in their rooms, ordering a food delivery, looking at their phones, but they were also being watched. That's according to the affidavit police unsealed today. Security cameras on houses around the neighborhood recorded a white sedan, suspect vehicle number 1, later determined to be a Hyundai Elantra, as it made an initial 3 passes by the victim's home. Then it's seen entering the area a 4th time at approximately 4 a.m. The timeline shifts inside the home, drawn from the statement of a surviving roommate identified as DM, who lived on the same floor as Kernodle. She was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what sounded like Gonsalves playing with her dog upstairs. A short time later, DM thinks she hears Gonsalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." DM looked down the hall but didn't see anything. She then opens her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying from Kernodle's room, followed by a man's voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Back outside, 4:17 a.m., a security camera next door picks up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud and a dog barking. DM looks out her room one last time. and sees a figure clad in black clothing, partially masked, 5 feet 10 or taller, athletically built with bushy eyebrows. She told police she froze in terror as he walked by to the backsliding door, then locked herself in a room. 4:20 a.m., suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area at a high rate of speed. That afternoon, the house is swarming with crime scene investigators. They discovered the victims all with gruesome stab wounds. Gonsalves' dog, unharmed, and something else. A tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed. It was stamped with the logo of a popular combat knife maker, K-Bar, and the U.S. Marine Corps SEAL. Like this example, widely available for sale online, the knife has yet to be recovered. Retired Seattle homicide detective Cloyd Steiger says Kohberger wasn't prepared for the chaos that ensued when these attacks started.
This reads to me like a rookie the first time, leaving the knife sheath there. What a huge thing. Why wouldn't you have that knife sheath on your belt so you couldn't possibly leave it there?
The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of that knife sheath. Over the next several weeks, police found video showing an Elantra leaving the WSU campus the night of the murders. Then they're able to link it to Coburger. Cell phone records also show him near the victim's home on at least 12 separate dates leading up to the killings. The final piece of evidence was secured December 27th. Agents recovered the trash from the Coburger family residence in Pennsylvania to get a family DNA sample. The next day, the Idaho State Lab matched it to the DNA from the knife sheath. The two samples were related with at least 99.998% certainty.
This is what's called YSTR DNA. The Y chromosome passes down from all the males in the family. So male to father to son, son to grandson, grandson to great-grandson. It's the same YSTR all the way down. So they had this DNA, and they could show that he was of the same YSTR as the father at the house, which is huge.
Steiger says it's possible Kohberger had previous victims, but he thinks this was his first time.
I don't know enough to know about him if he's a sociopath or a psychopath. But yeah, the boy ain't right? I don't know. There's something going on here. Yeah.
And the latest now, the FBI orchestrated those 2 traffic stops we were telling you about of Kohberger and his father as they drove back to Pennsylvania. He was pulled over twice in Indiana. We've got much more on that on fox13seattle.com. There'll also be a full interview I'm going to post there with Detective Cloyd Steiger, his theories and more on his discussion about whether this was a Ted Bundy in training or whether this was just the first time or whether he might have more victims they're looking into.